A very warm welcome. We are back here with you on the midweek episode of Enterprise Morning. I'm Chinyere Igweodu.
Yes, and I am Henry Igwebike.
All right, then we head straight into to see what the papers have for us today. But the most interesting part of the program here is you have a say in what we say. And that's why we implore you to follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. Do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Our guest for this segment is a social commentator and a veteran across board. Cyril Abaku is here. Good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Yeah.
All right, without further ado, let's head straight to the papers. We're beginning with the Vanguard in no particular order. The big story here is food inflation slowing FG's revenue rises, and this is credited to Edu.
Yes, and the writer of the same big story, we have targets more foreign investment inflow. IMF raises forecast for Nigeria's economic growth to 3.3%.
All right, just above the banner head, we have Okwama EU. Families, chiefs demand detained monarchs' whereabouts.
And on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, we have fresh Hader's attack. 26 security personnel and mourners, others killed in Benue State.
Also on the bottom strip, Kano Anti-Graft Agency files fresh charges against Ganduje.
And also on the top strip of the same newspaper, we have a PDP neck, Atiku, Wike's loyalist, in battle for party's control.
Absolutely. Well, Henry, I'd like us to stay on this particular report here. Fresh herders attack. 26 security personnel, mourners, others killed in Benue State. And that is what we're beginning with on the newspaper review segment this morning. Cyril is here to do justice to it.
Yeah. So thank you. The story is straightforward. I think that it is a precursor to bigger killings that are about to come. Whoever orchestrated these killings was very careful about the way they went about it. Now, only 2 weeks ago, there were killings in Gua East, I think, in Baikyo, where we had that. They killed people, the burials took place 2 weeks ago, but the killings happened even much earlier. Now, this is Gua West, if I'm not mixing up the facts, yes. And people who set out to kill security agents, members of the local vigilance group, are clearly bent on undertaking bigger killings. Because, of course, you need to first bind the strong man. You need to first take out the linchpins before you can deal with the communities themselves. And so, normally, security agents gather intelligence. They have the training. They have the ability, the capacity, and the will to forestall or confront invaders and attackers. But in this case, they have become the victims. And that's why you see they didn't attack, they were ambushed. If it had been an attack, it would have been a different thing. But it was an ambush. People who are going to conduct a burial and things like that normally don't go there all looking all uptight. They lose their guard. It's a human thing. And if you can afford to kill people who are mourning the dead, what can you not do? So they've taken out security people who can fight them, who can fight them. It means that they now want to go after the main target. My own concern is how does a government, either local government, state government, or even federal government, turn its own citizens into sitting ducks for slaughter? In the last administration, where the case, I think it was the first minister that went to the village and said, "You people of Benue, bring your weapons. We are here to defend you. We are here to work with you. We are here to support you. We're only seeking out your best interest. Don't let us have." Long story short, the villagers surrender their guns, their hunters, whatever, everything to the government. Then what happened next? The bandits came and made suya out of them. If a government of a country can deceive its own citizens into slaughter like that, then what are we to expect?
All right.
For me, it begs the question, not to say that what is going on in Benue State is a deliberately orchestrated massacre, genocide that is going on there. I can't call it any other name. No country will have it. Look, you see, so for example, you see how the president has attacked subsidy head-on, attacked the naira and the dollar, attacked the... Even when consequences came, food prices were galloping and they didn't say anything about it because it was policy they wanted to initiate. How about um, the other the tariff in electricity. Even when the national grid keeps on collapsing, they've gone on to implement a 300% increase in electricity tariff for so-called band-aid users. Meanwhile, it's for everybody that they increase that thing. Now, my concern is this: if you can be doing what you think you should do, that's why the consequences. What have you done about the report that said there are about 5 million light arms in Nigeria alone, roaming everywhere? Why haven't we seen concomitant desperate action to mop up those weapons out of the hands of non-state actors? It's not a priority.
So serious. Speak to if this is politics, because sometimes when we see such happen, you see the government in power saying, okay, so this might be opposition trying to put the government in a bad light. What do you think these herders are asking for? Why do you think this massacre?
No, it is
keeps
clear.
going on?
This is not new. The others have been at it for long.
Right.
The Buhari's 8 years was a field day for them in Benue State. You will also happen in places like what's that very, very famous one? There's a famous village, Agati. They are killing people, and it's like they kill and got tired of even killing. Human life, bloodshed, bloodletting. And all that the president could say was, in fact, the president didn't want to meet the community people. It was Benue President that said, we must come and see the president. And when they went to this, he said, go and share land with your brothers. They came to them. That's what President Buhari said. Are we not in this country? Buhari is a passive sponsor of terrorism in this country. I have no other way to explain it. Because if we were to undertake a thorough security audit of everything that's happened in Nigeria in the past 10 years, he will have questions to answer.
Right.
Why, as president, he deployed the police IG to go to, is it Benue or where? And the man came and he said he didn't know. And when he knew, what did he do about it? A whole lot has happened. What did the president do about it? People have been emboldened.
Right.
So nobody should pretend about the fact that it's not an isolated case. And may God not let it happen. Because for me, God is my resort. I don't to hope on the Nigerian government is to hope on Uganda currency to do business within Nigeria. If God does not intervene, I thought that this killing is a precursor to something bigger coming.
All right, so I think let's move on to the next paper. All right, so we'll start with the Guardian newspaper for today. And the big story here says biometrics and SIM registration deadlock, endless enrollment gulps 57 billion naira in 13 years amid a complaint protest.
And also on The Guardian, we have PDP governors Atiku, Wike, camps intensify position at Make Oma neck.
And also we have, again, Obi highlights insensitive on the serving allocations in 2024 budget.
Also on the bottom strip, Reps caucus gives Tinubu ultimatum to end insecurity.
And I think we have the last one here. Security operatives uncover hideouts of Yoruba Nation agitators in Ibadan.
Right.
Yes. So, Mr. Cyril, let's take a look at the story on biometrics and SIM registration deadlock. And of course, it says here endless enrollment gulps 57 billion in 13 years amid complaint protest. I know we've said it here on this platform severally, on the issue of identification. Why is it that it's only in Nigeria that those in authority find it absolutely difficult getting one or two means of identification that remains a form of identification? In the United States of America, this social security number alone is enough to give all the details that you want from a citizen of the United States. So the question is, why is it that in 2024, a country, a sovereign country with all the resources that they have, they find it extremely difficult concluding on what seems to be a better form of identification for its people?
Henry, they don't find it difficult, except that's your own assessment. They even say they find it difficult. The identification issue, okay, as far as I'm old enough to know that it has been on since 2003 at the minimum. Apache had his own that didn't work out eventually. I think before him there have been others, but I know that Apache had his own. But in 2003, President Obasanjo introduced the NIMs, this whole National Identification Project. So it's more than 13 years. But let's ask ourselves, the real project, in my view, is the $16 billion. Is it how much?
57 billion naira.
57 billion naira.
13 years.
Not the enrollment itself. The enrollment is only an enabler for the real project, which is the doling out of the money.
Amid complaints, of course.
They are not, people who are taking money are not complaining. It is people on the road that are complaining. I don't know, maybe you and I are complaining. But the people who are in charge of the money, who are discussing the money, they do not complain.
Well, actually, the complaint, I guess, is stemming from the fact that you have 3 different forms of restrictions, and they are not sympathical.
Let me even say this. We have not done any registration. We have not. It's the truth. Do you know why?
Why?
The infrastructure that they need to do this registration is weak, is bad. It's not the best it could have been. I can tell you that a government may come in 10 years or 5 years or anytime and tell us that they need to start this thing all over again. I will not be surprised. Maybe there is a truth people will be afraid to say. Let me say it again. There are 2 things. One, you see, people went on a cable to be doing registration, and the system was booting, which means the back end is weak and bad. Yes, now. So if somebody comes to me and says they can't rely on that whole collection, I will not be surprised. Number 2, we're not even in a country where somebody's birth is immediately fed,
fed into a system.
Yes, from birth. How do you know who is Nigerian and who is not? How do you even tell? There's no way to tell. Number 3, you had a minister of digital economy who, it was said, was a sympathizer with a terrorist group. They brought an argument that was when he was in university. Now, did anybody do a thorough background check on him to be sure that indeed this man was no longer a part of that? And was he the only person who could have used? If he even had such a tint or dent on it, why didn't you look for someone else to avoid any kind of misgiving? Now, because we don't know where he stood at the time he was in office, how about the possibility of compromise or a breach in which our data may have been accessed by people who should not be accessing it? That's what I'm telling you, that the day serious government comes, we may have to start this thing all over again. And me, I will not be against that if I say that that's a really serious government. Let's put that aside. The conversation that they've spent 57 billion naira, didn't you see it with census? Census where they said that they were not to spend 67, later they said 1 something, later they said 500 billion, later it was close to 1 trillion naira. It was later because Buhari was almost leaving office, they came and said that they already spent 200 billion naira for preliminary activities. They have not counted one single Nigerian. And they are not complaining. So I don't. The guy is saying that people are complaining. Maybe it is those that are not being counted and not being numbered that are complaining. For those who are discussing the monies, they are not complaining.
Very true.
All right. Henry, that's all we're taking from the
Yeah,
Guardian, right?
you can move on to.
Okay, so let's move on to the New Telegraph and see what we have. The big story here reads, Damago, PDP Reps Caucus meeting ends in commotion.
Yes, and on the top strip of the same newspaper, we have IMF raises Nigeria's economic growth forecast by 0.3%.
On the bottom strip, federal government paying about 600 billion naira monthly for fuel subsidy now, and this is credited to Rain Oil CEO.
Yes, and also we have on the top strip of the same newspaper, why Ganduja's arraignment may create constitutional crisis.
All right, so let's just stay on this story. IMF raises Nigeria's economic growth forecast by 0 to 3%. For benefit of the layman who may be watching, like myself, who do not have a proper grasp of what this is about and how this will impact our economy, help us understand what this means.
The subsidy.
No, the IMF raises Nigeria's economic growth forecast by 0.3%.
Well, it's a growth forecast. So like you have a weather forecast, they are saying this is what is going to
So
happen.
it may not.
Yes, but for me, none of the serious countries of the world lives by the IMF's metrics and numbers
Algorithms, yes.
and algorithms or whatever it is. So for Nigeria too, it's been a campaign for a long time that we need to undertake what some people have called nationalist economic thinking,
Okay.
and not the Bretton Woods philosophies of how developing countries should take more loans, remove subsidies, become enslaved, become entrapped, and so on. They don't tell us the truth often.
Speaking of subsidies, this story here, federal government paying about 600 billion. I mean, this is not far fetched from what we saw in the papers.
No,
yesterday.
the truth of the matter, and that's why he will enter into more trouble. But the truth of the matter is that the federal government said they were no longer paying subsidies.
Right.
It was 400 billion naira per month. Later on, I believe that they're paying now.
I'm paying more.
Of course, I'm paying more. Some people even say it was 1 trillion. Now, the university is saying 600 billion. But we're also being told that because of money being saved from subsidies, that they're paying more money to the in the name of allocation. So this whole economics is food economics from where it's looking. I don't know who is going to help us make sense of what's really going on. But if you ask me honestly, I don't know.
All right, so let's take a look at, maybe before we leave, on the Ganduje's story. Why Ganduje's arraignment may create constitutional crisis. How is that possible?
No, well, I'm not a lawyer, but I honestly don't see any crisis there. You see, sometimes people, I mean, one has been in the media for some time now. You can tell when the headline is being written or being cast to engender or push a particular agenda.
Right.
Really. What is the man is not in office. He's a mere party chairman. Why can't he be put on trial if there's prima facie evidence? You know? Why can't he face trial? What's the crisis there? Does the immunity follow him outside of his office as governor? It does not.
Right.
So he should face trial and let's see how that goes.
All right. Thank you so
Former
much.
governors before him, Jolly Yame and the one in Plateau, even went to jail before the former president granted them amnesty.
That is,
Pardon.
yes.
Joshua
Darius, yes.
So I don't see what is special about Umar Abdullah Ganduje that he cannot stand trial.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Cyril Abaku, for doing justice to our newspaper this morning. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you so very much.
Right.
All right, so when we return, Kaduna State House of Assembly set to investigate the tenure of former Governor Nasser El-Rufai. Is it all politics or not? That in a bit when we come back.